And so we continue today. It's Monday, 14th of September. Most of the Merlot of the estate are already in the vats, and now we are doing a very interesting exercise, which is to taste, already to start to taste all the Cabernet Sauvignon. It's a long process. We have about 100 parcels, and as you see, we have selected fruits, samples of fruits of 30 parcels among the 100. As you can imagine, it takes a long time to go and to do that in the vineyards if we had to drive and to taste in each parcel one by one. So we do this little exercise. It's totally blind, and we taste, we give of course our ratings, our opinions, and we decide after this tasting of the order of picking of a Cabernet Sauvignon 2020. And so far it's very exciting. Thank you. So this is where we are keeping our stocks of Latour. This place is consistently all around the year at around 14-15 degrees. We are 12 meters below the ground here, and the wines are, we take our time to keep these wines between 7 and 9 years on average. So here, for example, you see all the stock of 15 waiting, the stock of 2016. You see there's a bit of wine waiting. And the first vintage we release is here, so there's the remaining stock, and it's Latour 2012. So Latour 2012 stayed 8 years in our cellars, and back in May this year, we have just released this vintage for the first time. So you see we store the bottles with a little plastic cap to give it the cork a total protection during those 8 years. And we also keep some remaining stocks of older vintages. Here is the 18, but you see some of the magic vintage that we keep and that need long aging, like 2010, for example. And as you see, we have a little bit of the 2009 vintage, which is also a very special, rich, smooth, and probably soon legendary vintage of Chateau Latour. And we released a block of about 1,000 cases just last week, beginning of September 2020. So it's quite an historical moment for Chateau Latour. We have been waiting for 8 years now to release the 2012. So it's that moment we were waiting for. 8 years is usually just the beginning of the opening of our wines. We would have liked to even wait a little longer. But it's the moment where we believe that these wines are better in our friends' cellars than in our cellars. And we are releasing also l'Effort de Latour 14 and the Pauillac 15. Pauillac, it has always been the case. Pauillac, we've always kept this wine for a few years before release. L'Effort de Latour and Latour used to be sold en primeur, so very quickly after harvest and delivered 2 years later. And since this year, we are releasing Latour and l'Effort de Latour. L'Effort de Latour already a couple of years ago, after a while. So I will let Hélène say a few words about these wines. Hélène has been with us for more than 15 years now. Has been responsible for making the wine at Chateau Latour since vintage 2008, or even 2007 maybe. And so she's absolutely legitimate to tell us a few words about these wines.
So we will begin with Pauillac 2015. It's a very pleasant wine at this stage, with a lot of plumpness, and it's a very pleasant wine to taste today. It was not a wine with a big concentration, but it's a good representation of what we expect for this type of wine, for the third wine of Château Latour. With a lot of fruit and
Delicious.
delicious. So the Grand Vin 2012, it was a climatic big change in 2012, with a strong summer, very dry, but we worked the wine very softly and to have the better of the grapes at this stage. And it's a very fresh and elegant wine. It's not a wine, it's very aerobe. It's deep, fruity, very elegant.
Yes, for Japanese consumers who are very demanding, very experienced, you will find three different styles. You will find a 15, smiling, lush, full of fruit, easy, but yet with a good concentration. 14, as Hélène just said, is a great classic. And when we mean classic, means the aging of this wine will bring us a very nice surprise. It's really worth waiting another 4 or 5 years before completely enjoying this wine. But already there's a mintiness, there's a freshness in the tannins, there's no over extraction, no over ripeness. It's a vintage that will remind maybe an 01 or a 96, for example, for those who have the chance to have experienced these vintages. And 12 is just a balance. So we are, in a way, we are very lucky to start this new rhythm of offering wines with 12, because we have, even Hélène said it was a challenging climatic conditions. It's a great balance. You can really open this wine, decant it, and enjoy it today, and you can keep it as long as you can. And again, for Japanese consumer and for Enoteca customers, I think this will be an amazing trip in our Latour family wines. Enjoy. ありがとうございます。